Hey guys, Carl here, and today we're here at ATA 2023, and I'm going to cover the lockdown saddle. We just launched this saddle on you guys night before last. We have actually managed to keep it under wraps for once, so we kind of dropped this all on you guys just the other night. So this is the lockdown. It's a kind of a far cry from what we've done in the past on different things. This saddle actually has its own built-in yoke. Well, it's not actually built in. You can take it off. It's completely modular, like we like to do most things. So yeah, I could actually take this yoke off and throw it on a Phantom or anything else. But the reason I included a yoke in the build of this saddle is because of our new lockdown pockets. They are substantially larger in volume than even our largest cis hauler, which is the Elite. They're probably about double the volume of those. But because of the way we were able to pancake them out and get that extra volume, kept them in nice and streamlined on the body, so they sit in real tight. You can put a lot of stuff in there. So the yoke just kind of made sense, you know, just for extra support. If you want to load this thing down, you can. And yeah, you can load it just as light or as heavy as you want to. So the pockets are permanently attached to the saddle. They're stitched in at the top, and then they're stitched in on another seam down here on the bottom. One of the cool things about the pocket is they are a true one-handed operation. What I did is I built in an internal subframe, basically, inside of a channel here. It goes all the way around the pocket, and this allows this one-handed operation because it keeps that zipper from collapsing on itself whenever you're trying to do it. It also lends itself nicely to stowing your lineman's ropes. On a traditional cis hauler, that rope would be coming up around the top and having to drop in that drawstring, where here you're able to just point it right in. It's very nice, very clean. So we've got the main pocket. There is some internal storage inside the main pocket. There's two pockets in here. I've got a limb saw on that one. I actually have a Doyle's gear hoist in here as well that feeds out the bottom. There's a 3/8" grommets in the bottom of the back corner of each pocket, so you can feed out any retractable gear hoist that you want. We have an outside zip pocket here. This is great for cell phones, releases, different things. That's where I actually keep my grappling hook there. And then we have some little slit pockets here on the outside. Also, if you're shooting like a thumb release, you could drop one in there. I chose to put a bar tack in the center of that pocket versus a full stitch, because there's not a lot of real estate in and of itself up here in the front. So you could actually put a longer item in there, like a flashlight, just whatever you want to do. So that's the lockdown pockets. Also new for this saddle is our Gen 2 Utilibridge. So it's the same Utilibridge functionality that you guys know and love, but what we did is we added some extra distance to both loops. So now the Utilibridge girth hitches around the comfort channels. So before, you only had the option of 1, 2, 3 points of adjustment with the loose loop, but with the new lockdown loop, you get 7 points of adjustment, because now you can actually straddle the comfort channel balls like that, or you can run it in between like traditional sense. But the great thing about this is this will not move until you decide to move it and put it wherever you want to put it. So yeah, that was a great add-on. I'm gonna grab a saddle here to show you some other features. So the yoke actually has a very thin piece of HDPE material in there, and it gives it just a little bit of structure so it doesn't want to collapse on itself whenever you're wearing it. Also, we got really intentional with the molly that comes around over the top of the yoke. The center of this bar tack and that bar tack, they're actually 6.5 inches on center, which is the exact dimension on every Predator pack that we've ever built, as far as the common loops where the backpack straps hook up. So that allows you to hook a Predator pack onto the back of this if you want to. On the front, it's loaded up with a vertical molly on it. It's very flat, very streamlined, so it works great in conjunction with our fast pack or any other backpack for that matter, bino harnesses, whatever you want to do. We've kind of set ourselves up here for future products also to come along to incorporate into the yoke itself. It's definitely a hybrid yoke, so it's kind of half backpack strap, half suspenders, because you can see the back of the yoke is actually a suspension rig, basically. And this really comes into play whenever you're walking or climbing. It literally acts as a almost like a shock would act on a car. You're not getting a lot of pressure on your traps or anything, especially when you're climbing, because whenever you're climbing your climbing sticks, you ever had a pair of bibs on that don't have elastic on them? Whenever you bring that leg up, it bites down on you like that. This completely alleviates any of that because it's got that suspension, it's got that give in it. And then probably the major part that everybody's been talking about, this is our new lockdown system, and these are what we call lockdown links. These are removable. These are made out of a very high grade elastic webbing, and you can see that they're locked in with 3-bar sliders, top and bottom, and they come through these channels. And we have the expanding seam built into the saddle. So, we didn't create the expanding body saddle. We got to give credit where credit's due. Arrow Hunter created the expanding body saddle 3-4 years ago, maybe even longer, probably about 4 years ago. And it was a great concept, a great idea. And we didn't want to get into trying to build one until we could really improve upon it. And one thing that nobody was addressing on any expanded body saddle was the fact that once it was open, it just stayed open. There was, you had no way to keep it closed. So, this expansion seam is 5.5 inches whenever it's completely opened up. And saddles would just open up and stay open, so it was like wearing a diaper through the woods and hitting you on the back of the legs. It just wasn't very efficient and it wasn't very clean. But you can see we've solved that problem there. So we've also changed our buckle system on the leg straps on the lockdown. We're starting to kind of move toward a more of a Raptor style Cobra buckle system. We're trying to get getting our hands on some smaller ones. The ones that people use for the belts and stuff were just really too big for the leg straps. So these are a nice micro Raptor or Cobra buckle. It's still the same 1-inch webbing, but they're no longer left and right specific. You can see they're extremely intuitive, very easy to do, and we don't have, like I said, we don't have any left and right. With our hooks, they were left and right specific, and you had to deal with all that. Now you can just hook them up wherever you want. All right, so another neat thing about the lockdown system is that it walks in great, because with the Phantom, we always told people whenever you set in it to put it below your belt line. On the lockdown, you want to put it well above your belt line, so it's actually above the hips whenever you cinch it down, so it walks really, really nice, from the truck to the tree or whatever, and especially with the built-in yoke. And you're going to see where this placement actually comes into play whenever I hook into the tree, because you don't have to move it. I mean, you can obviously, but its initial position lends itself to being very comfortable whenever I deploy this expansion seam. So right here, I'm just kind of leaning. The seam is closed. It's a great leaning saddle just in the closed position. Very, very comfortable. But when I reach down and I grab the expansion handles right here, got one here and I've got one on the other side, I'm going to just pull this straight down to the back of my knees. And I've expanded the seam on that. This becomes an incredible sitting saddle. I mean, I've always traditionally been a 90% leaner. All you guys out there who've talked to me in the past, I've said that. I lean 90% of the time. This saddle's kind of changed that for me. I'm doing a lot more sitting because it's so comfortable. And because we have that 5.5-inch expansion on it, you can actually, it's almost like having a built-in MVP or recliner, because right now you just saw me pull that up a little bit to my lower back. So I'm really catching a lot of my lower back while still supporting the rest of my butt and my legs. It's insanely comfortable. And whenever I was developing the profile of this and doing different sits and stuff, I was literally sitting for 4 hours at a time and not touching the saddle. Like right now, it's adjusted. I don't have to touch it. It's so comfortable. And the pockets, you can see here, now that I'm in position, we actually design these and position them for when in use. Because you can see right now, I'm no longer perpendicular to the ground. I'm pitched at an angle like I would be if I was leaning or sitting. And so the pockets are designed to work on that plane. The deepest part of the pocket is now pointing straight toward the ground. So this keeps all of your stuff in place, nothing's gonna be falling out, and the functionality is right there.